Isaiah, pictures.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sophia. I'm representing the group 1A pastors group. So we're going to be discussing about how Nigerian schools are better than here UK schools. So
It's actually the differences we have in the Nigerian system of schooling and the UK system of schooling. So let's have it.
So our number one reason for why Nigerian schools are better than the UK schools is that they don't discriminate. So a second reason why we'll be saying Nigerian schools are better than UK schools is that everybody is black. And our reasons why we UK, some people might say UK is better than Nigerian schools is because they don't correct children and they don't beat children, which allows the children to rot.
That is our opinion.
While over in Nigeria, they beat children so that they will learn the right thing and so that they will be corrected. Unlike here, they just talk to you and the children don't know what you are talking to them about. But if you beat them, they will have correction of what you are saying and they will be trained well.
I want to take Sophia on that. Sophia, I want to ask you a question here. Get back up. So, are you saying that you children, do you prefer that you are beaten?
Some people may say no. But I still think it's a good idea to be corrected.
Corrected, not beaten. So just sit down in this class and in this session and hear how a child can be corrected and not necessarily beaten. Good.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Sophia as we invite forward the group leader for Group 1, Sister Kemi.
Okay. Can I pick up that point because it's a very important one about beating. Because, in our discussion we will say to beat or not to beat. And to hear it from a child that they're thinking that beating is right tells you that there's a cultural shift there. And I'm assuming from her accent that she has not too long come into town. Yeah? So what will happen is that is what she knows. And I want you to take this on board, all of you who are currently parents, that is the impact of beating. That is impact of a culture where they do beat. From the school itself. But it's not just from the school. The school is an extension of the home. Do you understand? Because the people doing the beating, they're also parents. I mean, it just reminds me when I was growing up in this country, actually. And beating was part of my life because my parents were immigrants that had just come in as well. We're talking the 50s, 60s here. So that is what they knew as a way of sorting out a child. And although we now have other reasons or other ways now, think about it. What were you going to take away from your child as punishment in those days? There was no telephone, there was no PS4 or whatever they call it. Do you understand? So beating was the route to get a child back in order. It's like treating an animal. So I just felt it was important to jump in here, just to remind parents of that. Because this is a child that will also grow up and say, well, I was beaten, as I said once. to the very person that I work with in this organization. I said to her, "Oh, what's wrong with beating? Look at me today. Am I not a fine specimen of a woman? Haven't I come through? Do I look like I'm bad?" No. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you very much. You know? And to me, that was as a result of training. But training doesn't have to be this harsh. Neither does it have to be seen that if you don't beat, you won't get quality. Because I'm sure that even here, there are some people say, my parents didn't beat me. Anybody with your hand up on that? Yeah? Exactly. And I think you're a fine specimen, you know, and producing children that are like you. So remember, we always do what we know. Yeah? So that is a thought we will discuss further down, where the cultural group will, I hope, pick that up.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much. No, here. You can stay here and interact with us.
Good afternoon. My name is Adepoju Kemi, and I'm here presenting for Group 1. And the topic we have is understanding and adapting cultural diversities in the United Kingdom. And then I think when we're discussing this morning, we had to narrow it down to, you know, comparing cultural diversity between where we are coming from, majorly Nigeria, and the United Kingdom. So we spoke about a lot of cultural shocks that happens to us as Africans when we come to the United Kingdom. We spoke about parenting that she just spoke about now, how we were raised and how we are expected to raise children in the United Kingdom. All in all, we summarized it by saying that to really adapt to, you know, balancing the cultural diversity back in Africa and that of the United Kingdom, you really need to know the law of the land, which is very, very important. You need to know the law of the land for parenting. For example, how are you expected to, you know, relate with your children? What are the, what's the English now? What are the measures you are expected to put in place, you know, to raise your children properly? We also spoke about food and drinks, that how do we balance, you know, what you have here and that of what you have in Africa. And I'll just answer that by saying that we need to adjust as much as possible and also familiarize ourselves with, you know, familiar African foods that we have around. Also, sorry, excuse me, let me look into my notes a bit. Okay. Also, keep in touch with home regularly as much as possible. Help your children also to keep in touch with, you know, home. We spoke about, you know, I think one of our members was speaking about how he's raising his children here and also making sure that they know what is obtainable in Africa and then finding a way to balance it all up. And then I'll just summarize, I'll conclude by saying, take advantage of, you know, everything you have here. Find a faith-based community where you can interact, you know, build networks, build relationships. There are people who have been here before, you know, some of us, like I learned in the group this morning, some of us have, we have experience of how to live here. So find those people and get the right information from them. Thank you. I think I'll just...
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's put your hands together for Sister Kemi. I would want us to finish all that before we have the overall round-off. So let me call on the representative of Group 2, talking about the power, understanding the power of the voice of children. That interests me a lot. Please join your hands together. Put your hands together as we welcome.
Our latest mother.
Yes, sir.
So your son is speaking already.
Oshawaru.
Hello everyone, my name is Omosawaru Violet. I'm speaking on understanding the power of the voice of children inside UK. Amen. Now yesterday we had a discussion through WhatsApp call, and we also had some contributions from our chat talking about the children. I'm going to look at two things: the meaning of that word and the importance of it. Now, I try to wrap my head around it to my own understanding, what I know before and the little I've learned since I came here. Amen. Now, the meaning of that word, understanding the power of your children's voice inside UK, says that it means more than seeking their views, which could just mean the child saying what they want rather than really being involved in what happens. Hallelujah.
Maybe you know Sunday school teachers, how they teach. So continue, Sunday school teacher.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Now, where we came from, when adults are talking, children are meant to keep quiet. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. But here, children make contribution, like to have a say in what concerns them. I don't know if you are getting me. Yes. They have a say in what concerns them, in the area of their education, in their social well-being, and so on. They have a say, and it should be put into consideration now that we are here. We might not be used to that in Africa. It might not be part of us. But now that we have come here, we have to find a way around it, to balance it. Because if we don't, that is when the trouble comes. And we don't want to be involved in that. Amen. I pray God helps us in Jesus' name. Then I said the importance of your children's voice. Children have a say regarding anything that involves them, e.g. their education and social well-being, like I said before. I said their voice should not be neglected when they are trying to contribute in matters that concerns them. Here. Whether here or not, the African mindset that we have, since I came, a lot has changed. Because
I like that. I like that. We celebrate that, everybody. I like that.
Amen.
Yes, a lot has changed.
The truth of the matter is, apart from the fear that they will take our children from us, they are not telling us to kill these children. That is the truth. They are not telling us to kill these children. I have 4 children. I had 1 year, 3 are still back there in Nigeria. Now, my first son, I learned that when I was too hard on him, I was having difficulties with him. That's the truth. Then I got to understand that this boy, there's something with him. And he's good at saying sorry. He can tell you sorry 20 times. In fact, what is 20 times? He knows that he's wrong. He will just say, I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm sorry. He's very good at that. But when I withdrew my hand from, being too hard on him, I saw him coming. Amen. So what they are asking us to do, actually, it's not to destroy the children. It's to build them. Amen. So let's not neglect the voice of our children, especially here. Now, I learned something that my sister, I have a sister here, I met her here. She told me, I will just bring that just small to illustrate what I'm trying to say. She said, there's a word that the mother always uses on the child. And being children, children like to copy. So when the child gets to the class, the child will use it on another child in the class. The teacher now called the attention of the mother and said, your child is always using this word. And if she had explained it to the teacher, it would have been trouble for her. Being kind of, I would say, sharp now, she quickly said, I don't know. I don't know what he's saying. I'm not aware. I don't know where he got it from, But she told my sister that, hey, so want put me for trouble. Look at what he did, though. You know. So we as parents, we should also mind the words that we say. Like when we were talking before this one started, when we were having our discussion, Mama told us, Mama used a word, beating. Now, when you say, I will beat you in Nigeria, I mean say, either I will flog you, I go beat you. You know, it's not the way we understand our word. That's not how they interpret theirs. Now, my sister also told me that, I don't know how true that is, I've not heard it, that, sorry, ma. Okay, let me forget that and just, okay, I said we should also mind. Amen. Praise God. Okay, like there's a word. He said, I feel like pinching him. He said that word is not pinch. We will know. That's what she told me. I have not heard it. That the pinching means like, I feel like taking him or so, or taking this thing, you know. But you know, in Africa, our words, sometimes I'll just tell my husband, all these things that we say in Africa, I thought they said it was these people that, you know, colonized us. Where did we get these words from, you know? Yes. So I just pray God helps us. Ma, I'm sorry, ma, please. We should also mind, okay, like I said, we should mind and choose the languages we use as means of communication to our children. Threatening words should be avoided. While we are here, please don't threaten your child. I will learn. I pray I learn. I will learn, and I must learn. Don't threaten your child. See, warn yourself. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. I'm going to beat you. You know, you are putting fear in that child. Amen. A sister shared this with me. She's here. She will know what I'm talking about.
Auntie,
let me just quickly say this, man. Sorry,
man.
I know. She said the child was, like, the mother was brushing the child's hair in the morning. I don't know what happened to the child. So when the child got to school, the child was not crying. Yeah. And the teacher now asked the child, why are you crying? He said, my mother brushed my hair and she hurt me without my consent. They had to call the elder brother of the child after inviting the mother. That look at what your child said. So the mother said, this is what actually happened. If you say I am lying, please call my older eldest son. That was how they found out the truth from the other guy. That was what saved them. So please, let's mind our words and let us be careful in this place so that we'll not fall into trouble. I pray God helps us.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our teacher today. I can't see you put your hands together for her. That was a very good one. Thank you so much. Without wasting much of our time, and our time will soon start, let me call on the representative of Group 3 to summarize it. The person coming is a teacher by excellence. She's somebody that knows how to manage time. She's somebody that teaches you so that when she teaches you, you understand it without asking questions. I know that in that 5 minutes, she's just going to spend 3 minutes and give me my 2 minutes. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Okay, good afternoon, people. I can't say church now. So, my name is Babalola Modupe. I'm representing Group 3 that is talking about understanding the voice of a woman in the United Kingdom. Before we got here, we didn't think about, relating the voice we have in Africa to what we have here. But she made us understand that. And God bless you, ma'am. We realized that we have voices too in Africa. But they said if you want to hide anything from a black man, put it in a book. We don't understand that we have that right. And our culture, alongside religion, has really suppressed those rights. They made us believe that men is ultimate. Is a man's word. And that is why you see that Baba Oluwa Miero. It is so bad that in some families, if they don't give birth to a male child, the woman is not a woman. She'll be looking around. She must give birth to a son. And we have so many sons out there. Touts. Are you getting it? The nitwits Most of them are men. Apologies for that. So, getting here, people are still mixing it up. Okay, this is a woman's land. I have the right. Do you know the right? Or is it just what people are saying, that it is a woman's world? You have the right, you have the right. Don't let us forget that our men, even from the smallest, I think Zeke, no, who is the smallest in the church now? That ego of a man is already in him. The ego of a man is already in him. We should not forget that fact. The fact that it's a women's world does not mean we should go rebellious. Mama Adediba was saying something while we were discussing, that when people came to their house to make inquiries from school, that it was the husband that was replying them. So one of the women was not like, why are you silent? You both have rights over these children. But thank God for the wisdom of God. She said, where she was coming from, it is a sign of respect. That was why they were silent about it. And I want us to understand that as they are pushing words into women's mouth, so are they pushing it into our children's mouth. We have rights to everything. You have rights to equality. You have rights to vote, right to live, right to maternity, and all those things. They are all in Google, on Google. We can go back there and surf it out. But I want us to take something home. That for the fact that I have a right, I shouldn't misuse it. And to our daddies too, this is a women's world. This is a women's world. You have been, I be the high and mighty from home. You have to be submissive here. Yes. No, that's the truth. Bible says we should be submissive to our husbands. Yes. We should be submissive to our husbands because God knows it is difficult for a woman to be submissive. Men should love their wives because it is difficult. He knows it is difficult for men to love. So those things we must inculcate it into our stay here in the UK. Nobody carry us come here. We carry ourselves to this place that we want to live a better life. So we should understand it step by step. Women have voices. Well, I was told that the cathedral at the marketplace there, that their vicar is a woman.
I love that.
Are you getting it? Whereas in Nigeria, because before you can see people like that, it will be in the Pentecostal churches. Orthodox churches doesn't allow it. As time goes on, our mommy will expatiate more. Thank you so much.
At least we now have one in Nigeria, the first of its kind. Yeah. Woman Anglican bishop. She's in Jos. Yes. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Mrs. Babalola.
But
Thank
here,
you so
I think
much.
we have women ministers.
Yeah, we do.
In this church.
Yeah, we do.
Good.
We do. Powerful ones for that matter. Talk of Minister Nkechi. Talk of Minister Kemi.
Fire.
Talk of Minister. It is well. I was thinking this event would be boring, but I am getting more interested. If you are getting more interested, say yeah. So let me call on group 3. Group 4 now. That group is just bam. I don't know how else to explain that group. So please let me, with joy and happiness, let me introduce to you our lovely group leader, Sister Toyosi Williams. Wow, what a good leader. What a good leader we have there. She has really given it up to someone else to do the presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Essie Onoro. My name is Essie Onoro, and I represent Group 4, the group that's talking about understanding your rights, privileges, and limitations in the UK. Boundaries in the UK, rather. And it's interesting that the topic before this one had to do with rights, women's rights. One of the things we established is that people generally from our part of the world, do not appreciate, let me not use the word like, they don't appreciate reading. Like she rightly said, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. A lot of the times, Africans, I will speak for Nigerians, we do not like to open that book and check. And incidentally, that's the first port of call. When you move into a new environment, when you come into a new country, the first thing you should do, or that you are expected to get to know and understand, is to check what applies to you. How do you find out? You find out and as I said, interestingly, in the UK, all their laws are online. All their laws here are online. If you go to legislation.gov.uk, you'll find every law, from every single law as it pertains to everything. I make use of it because of my discipline also, and I find all the resources are there. Back home in Nigeria, it's a bit difficult because we have the statute books are there, but you don't have where to find them. But here you can find anything. If you Google anything, any question you want to ask, it will take you to numerous links now, and that's the first point of call, or port of call rather, for anyone who wants to understand their rights. A lot of us have children here who are parents, and we just take our children. We've heard, oh yeah, it's free school, free. And then you take your child to school, and the child is, say, in year 3, is about, say, 9, 10, or 8, 9, and he's year 3. You don't realize that at that point, your child is not entitled to a free school meal. There's a point from which the child is entitled to free school meals, and there's a point it stops. Some of us just feel that it's free, and then we just go, and then eventually you want to switch. Meanwhile, your visa from home says no recourse to public funds. And then when you want to transit your visa, when you spend 5 years or you've gone 10 years, you want to become a citizen and all that, they check your records, because everything about you, your name, once they put in your name, everything about us shows. That's the beauty about a system that works and has records. And then they show you, pam, 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 your child ate sandwich and something that costs XYZ. Because of 2 or 3 pounds or 10 pounds, one gets into trouble. Why? You didn't know. I take myself as an example. When I was taking my children to school, the 2 girls, they gave me the forms to fill, and I was filling. And it had something to do with free school meals. At that point, I paused. I asked them. They said, well, oh, no, they're not sure. But okay, just fine, just fill the form. I filled it. But in my head, I already knew that there was going to be an issue. So I just left it. I filled the form, and I told them that I would pay for the meal. 1 week, I paid. Because I hadn't prepared myself to start packing lunch for them at that time. And then 2 weeks later, when they had started school, I get a mail from the council that I'm not entitled. You know, yeah, so those are the things. And incidentally, these people that we work with don't know. Some of them do not even know what applies, because many of them have not even left this place. They have not entered a plane and gone somewhere. They've been in the UK all their lives. So you really can't blame them. So it's your responsibility as an immigrant to get to find out. Apart from going online, there are resources. You have people you can ask, you can network. There are ways that we can find out these things. What are your rights? Are you entitled to vote? Are you entitled to build credit? You know, there are many things that and it starts from getting to know and understand. It's your responsibility. Nobody will do it for you. So let's change that narrative that we just want people to do things for us and just assume that everything is free. And let's also work on ourselves to change the narrative that we must use kona mago to get things done. It doesn't always work that way. I like to be a very straight person. If you know me, I'm a straightforward person. And as much as possible, I've tried to inculcate that into my family and everyone who is around me. If I'm not sure about something, I'll find out, I'll ask. In my place, they say who they ask question, not the loss. That's the truth. So if you are not sure about anything, chances are that your uncertainty at that point is a check for you to understand that you need to find out more about it, so that you too will be able to educate other people. One of the things that I also know people say is that people don't want to give information out. People don't want to share information out. Be the person that changes it. Find out the information and use it to help others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for her. Thank you so much. Children, are you enjoying yourselves? Yeah. Thank you so much. All right, at this juncture, we want to have a round off of what we have said. After this, there's going to be a panel of discussion. All this between now and 2 p.m. And there is someone that I will want to invite forward to introduce our guest speaker. Because during the time of John the Baptist and Jesus, he said, someone whose shoelace I am not worthy of touching, not to talk of loosening or tightening. So this time around, I am not worthy of introducing my guest speaker. I would like to call on the person that is worthy of doing that. So please welcome with me, Mr. Kayode Adedigba.
Hello, everyone. Are we excited to be here? Are we excited to be here? Okay, so once again, I want to welcome everyone to Family Safety Summit 2023. And I want us to put our eyes together for making it to be here. All right, without wasting time, I would like to introduce a couple of guests that we have in our midst this afternoon. I have Ms. Sylvia Ochuba, who is here from Stronger Communities Meetings Room. Please, can you please just, she's here representing Stronger Communities, right? Or Middlesbrough Council. So thank you very much for being here with us. She's been here, she was here last year's edition, and she's been supporting the community, the BAME community in Middlesbrough strongly, and we are seeing the impact of our work. God will continue to strengthen you in Jesus' name. All right, secondly, I would like to introduce Ms. Kobil Peacock. She's just around the corner here. All right, so for those of us, we mentioned before now that we are entitled to vote in the United Kingdom as Commonwealth citizens. So if you have not been registered yet and you would like to register, you can see her by the special corner that she's sitting for your registration. By inference, I would like to say that if you are looking to be a homeowner in the nearest future in the UK, or you are looking to apply for credit cards or any form of credit facility, being on the electoral register is a very important way, a very important part of that process. It will add a lot of points to your credit score. So please avail yourself the opportunity of registering today. Finally, I would like to bring on stage. Okay, thank you. So I have someone special who has joined us all the way from London City, the place of the seat of government of the United Kingdom. And she's here on special invite. She's known to be doing this nationally, and she's been doing this for many years, educating parents on how to properly safeguard children in the United Kingdom, and of course, keep our families as a BAME community concern safe in the United Kingdom. Without much wasting of time, I would like to invite the National Coordinator of Africa Children's Champion Volunteering Group, Ms. Ekanem Robertson. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here and inviting me to come here. One of the things that I always make sure that I do when I come to any organization is that I give honor to whom honor is due. And I would like to give honor to Pastor Femi. You know, as I've come to know him in a very short time, I'm very excited by what he's doing in Middlesbrough. Let us acknowledge that, because he's building a different type of church. Even I can see it. And I've been here a very long time. I think in my previous comment that I made, you would have calculated how old I am. So I've been here long. I've been here way back from the 60s. So I know this place. This is my country more than it is Nigeria, since I spend more time here than I have spent in Nigeria. But at the same time, I'm a Nigerian. Yeah? And I think that that is what we will all become and claim at some point. Now, it has also been very interesting with the various breakdowns that have been made for this conference today, the various subject areas that we've had to deal with. And I'm going to overview them in some ways and try to enhance them and bring everything together. And I will have the help of Kayode coming in to talk about particular subjects. So I'm going to start it because I'm going to pick up on what all of you have said. And I think you'll notice that both of us, we're both wearing this fantastic t-shirt. Let us pose. Where's my paparazzi? We're posing with our pictures, right? Fantastic, thank you. All right, and this is just to, I am an Afruka Children's Champion. And towards the end, I will explain what that means. But part of the role is what I'm doing right now, which is coming out to various communities and showing you the information that I'm dealing with, and also trying to spread that word out. Okay. Just for information purposes, let me just take us a little step back, because I'm assuming that many of you are under 5 years in this country. Do you agree? Under 5 years? Under 2? Under 2. Under 5? 4? All right, 5? Hands up. 4? 3? 2? 1. Right, okay. That gives me a positioning on where to start talking from. And I assume that you are all from Nigeria. Anyone from anywhere else? Ghanaian? We're Nigerian. You're Nigerian today. Our jollof rice is better. Okay. We will argue that one later. Okay, so I will start with a note of caution. Some of the subjects that we may talk about today may have affected some of you in some ways. And there is something else that happens sometimes when you hear information. You start tying it with old thoughts that you've had or experiences. And you suddenly realize that, I was groomed. Oh, I had that experience. Oh, that impacted on me. That may happen today. And as we are talking, yes, could I ask that you don't mention names of social workers if you have that situation. You do not mention names of your children. Just talk about it because it's an open forum. You've got Zoom taking place there. People are taking pictures. Just talk about whatever issue you might wish to raise as a question, as, a friend. It's fine. Doesn't have to be me. So, and then because the way I run this, I like people to talk. Every view is valid because you're talking about your own personal experiences. So I now will begin. Please note what I just did there. I did a warning. This is part of the culture here. We sensitize people first. You don't just go straight in. And you are given your parameters and boundaries. Note it. Because this is how you should start to adapt in the way you behave. So we are Afruka. And we work in 5 areas: awareness raising and sensitizing, information, education and advisory services, advocacy and policy development, community and international development, and support for children and young people who are affected by some of the subjects I'm going to be talking about today. Please note that as people that have come into town here, become involved in your community. You know, we, as part of our culture, we tend to stay back. You know, we don't want to get involved because maybe our visas are not what they should be. Maybe we don't feel we have enough money. Maybe we feel we cannot speak English properly. Take all of it and join things. It will improve you. There are many cultures where they've come in and they've been here for 20 years. They still cannot speak the language of the land. Change that. There is no such thing as Nigerian English. There is only English English. Speak it. Use the words that mean what you really mean to say. If you're not sure, ask somebody. If you know that this person speaks better English than me, you say, my girl, what does this thing mean in this country? Whenever I say it, I find that they look at me funny. Let me give you an example. A young girl came into town. She was the daughter of a friend of mine. And she phoned me up and she said, Ike, I'm coming to play with you. I said, you're coming to play with me? I said, okay, please come. Come and play with me. Now, let me tell you straight. Play is what children do. Play is not what adults do. But I said, come, because I understood the Nigerian English and the English English, what she meant to say. But you know something, not everybody who's listening to you will have that tolerance level. Because if you're in court and you say, I went to go and play with his son. Thank you, my dear. She's laughing because she knows that that's not quite right. That is why when, what was his name now? Michael Jackson says he has kids coming to sleep over. Everybody went, eh? And you think that's all right. But do you understand? Not a great example, but you understand where I'm coming from. So, okay, she came. And the first thing I did was to sit her down because she was a young girl coming to do university here. And I said to her, English is different from Nigerian English. And the straight translation from the language. And I think Yoruba, when you are going to go and see somebody, the interpretation is the word play. Am I right? That's how it straight. Yeah, exactly. But here it will be, I'm coming to see you. Can I spend some time with you? Let's have a discussion. Something else. So I explained it to her fully. And when she understood it, she said, oh, she could see the errors or the mix-up that could take place. So please be cautious of your words, just to let you know that. So it is important that you participate. And why I also say that is that your children are going to schools. And if they're not seeing you as parents coming into the school to find out, how's my child doing, showing an interest, when they have parents' night, go to it. Advocate for your children. And it makes changes, not just for you, but for your generations to come. Because it is very likely that your children will still be here when you're long gone. It is very likely that your children will not go home. And I'm not speaking it into your lives, I'm giving you a reality. The reality, it comes from my own experience. Because basically, my parents brought me here, and I started school here. Where am I? I'm still here. That was not the intention. The intention was to return, and I tried to return. But I had nobody to inculcate me. This is why I say what your pastor's doing is incredible, because he's inculcating you so that you can try and walk that balance and maybe transfer it to your children. The reason I have a love for Nigeria is because my father was a staunch Nigerian. He was a proud Nigerian. You know, he would remind me, this is not my country, oh. This is not my country, oh. This is how we do things there. Do you understand? So I got the full remit of Nigeria. It's like as soon as we crossed the line here, that was called outside and inside, he'll tell me, you're in Nigeria now. So every Nigerian law pertains inside the house, and I will explain more. So, okay, we've looked at the 5 issues here. In the UK, if you abuse your child, they will be taken away from you. Full stop. The reasons why children are taken into care. Does anyone know why?
It's because when the children go to them or their teacher and say that my mom and dad are beating me, it triggers their mind saying that they are assaulting and abusing them at home, so they take them away for care.
Thank you. We will examine that a bit more, but you're right. That's one of the reasons. But let me give you some more detailed reasons. Did any of the parents want to give a reason why children are taken into care? I want to get a parent because I know my time is also running.
As a parent, I know that one of the reasons why children are being taken into care is when they feel that, when they have concerns about the children.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. The top answer for this is actually, as you've said, abuse and neglect. That is why. There are other reasons like family dysfunction, acute stress, abstaining, absent parenting, parental illness, child disability, socially unacceptable behavior, and then low income is at the very end. In the old days, people would always shout out low income, but it's not true. It's part of the reason, but not all. 7% of our children are in care. That's very high when we only represent about 4% of the nation. And I don't want to hear that any one of you, your children goes into care, because it's a very little slip that can do it. Don't allow that to happen, because the cost of care is so high. 71% of the children in custody have either been involved with social services or care before going into custody. And I think you know what the difference between care and custody is. Okay, is everybody aware? If you're not, this is an environment for us to share that. Nobody, should feel that, oh, it's a learning environment. So please ask, shout it out. When you're in care, it means that the child has been taken from you and given to social services for them to either put you into a family that may be as similar as they can get to your child's background, or they may go into fostering. And sometimes, because of the fact that we as people don't really do fostering a lot, we've increased, but not significantly. And I'm sure you may be able to confirm that. Have we increased? Do we have enough parents to go around for the children coming? No. Yeah? So here in Middlesbrough, if your child is taken away from you, it's more likely that your child will go to a white family. And I don't think it's what you want. It's not desirable, because they may not understand what your child's needs are. Even from the very basic of how to comb their hair and plait it. Do you understand? I sometimes see these children being taken around and I'm like, why is this child, why have they not rubbed oil on the skin of this child? Basic things, very, very basic. Am I right? It sounds stupid. And then, of course, don't even go to the food. Nobody's going to be making ground rice for your child to be eating with fufu or whatever. Okay? So that's some people their children have been taken away and they've come back to the parent and the parent cannot recognize their child. That is the reality. Don't let it be yours. And those of you who are on stream, listen to this. You understand? I'm not creating fear, I'm creating information. This is a reality of not abiding by the law. And that is where those of you who talked about cultural things, one of the cultural things is we don't abide by the law in our country. We see that the road says, this way drive, this way come back. Somebody here will say that queue is too long and will jump into the oncoming traffic and expect them to deviate so that he can go where he's going. Am I wrong? No. Okay. So that is the psyche that we come into here with. Come here with that, you'll find yourself on the next plane back. Or you'll find yourself with bills that you didn't anticipate because of the fines. And that is time wasting for you. There's a high cost to keeping children in care. There is a lot of mixed, black and mixed race children also in care. I mean, can I ask you how much you think it costs to keep a child in care? Somebody shout it out. It's okay. No answer is right or wrong. How much? £10 per hour. Please.
It's far more than that.
It's. Give me a round sum for a month.
For a month.
Or a week.
Yes.
Better start to
that.
escalate that. Because as of 2015, it was £3,000 a week. So I want to know how many of you spend £3,000 a week on each of your children. And even many of you don't even earn that a week, talk less a month. So this is happening per week, and you'll see the reasons for it. So a lot of our children are ending up in care, and they are ending up going into, so that was care, going into custody. Custody means because your children are going to school, and one of the first things that we used to be asked to do was write a story, draw a picture. Children draw from their imagination and from what is actually happening to them, which means that they will tell. Or somewhere that you can get some additional assistance, as long as you're not going, recourse to public funds. But there are places you can get assistance. Even friends may help. Ask. Okay. We have looked at parenting then and now, because you did that in your groups when you were talking about the cultural things. And I remember doing this exercise some time ago, and I think my time has really finished actually. My time is finished. And basically we found that the way in which you were dealt with when you were much younger was tougher. Can I have people just shout out words that describe their upbringing? Because I think all of you have come from home. So if all of you have been brought up by your parents at home, what? It was.
So there was this cooking amala. So turning stick. My sister wasn't using it well. And then, she, out of nowhere, she just said, "You're doing it, you're not doing it." She said in Yoruba, "You're not doing it well, leave there." You know, for her, in Yoruba culture, you're just supposed to keep quiet. More now that they have corrected you, you're supposed to be sober and looking at the thing carefully. My sister now said, Mommy, where is it that when you're making the amala, you make sounds? You know what my mom did? She's late now, of blessed memory. She turned the thing with her left hand and threw it at her. It didn't make her hear. All of us, we just learned. All the other ones that was straight away. All of us just learned. We're sober for her. And we never thought that was wrong. We never thought that it was.
Well, this is why when the young lady said beating was okay, this is where it's coming from. Because it's a learned thing. It's a mirrored experience. Whatever you are doing in your home, your child will copy. Your child will emulate that. So be cautious if the way you speak to each other and so on. That's where all the signs come from. If you're experiencing domestic violence in your home, you'll find that your child, when he doesn't get something, will resort to violence rather than asking a question. And that is an indication to me as a teacher, say for example, that something is happening here. You know? And of course, these are reasons for which your child can be taken away. And it's not a case of taking one child, they'll take all the children because all of them are under threat. But I'm going to show you the laws now very quickly. So what is child abuse? Everybody, you keep on hearing this, whether you're in Nigeria or any other part. What is child abuse? I'm going to run through. I know you all know. All right, please let one of these children have a go.
All right.
Child abuse is like any physical abuse or mentally or sexual abuse to any child.
Yeah.
Like when you hit them or you make them sad.
Okay.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Child abuse is if you put your hand or someone or like physical abuse to them, because about what you were saying about like when people take your children away from their parents. We've suffered that.
Okay.
That's
okay. Thank you.
That's okay, thank you.
All right. So, you know, when your pastor put as one of the things that you needed to discuss was the voice of the child? Are you hearing the voices of your children? And I'm saying the voices of your Oyibo children. They know their rights. They know their position. They are taught. And they will exercise it. Okay? It is not to bring fear. It's to make you understand that this is a new environment. It is not something that you need to abuse them with, because you know what? You brought them to learn. You brought them for a better life. This is the better life, in a sense. Yeah? And it's a case of how do you handle it? Because it's, you know, it's like a child that brought up in Nigeria, like your example earlier on, that you have to show submission, which means looking at the ground when an adult is talking to you. Am I right? Because it's so long ago now for me. That will be shown in a classical Oyibo teacher's eyes. It will look like, that child is being abused. That child is a bit quiet. What's going on? And that's where that child will be pulled aside to start to ask, not understanding that at the initial part is a cultural situation. Here in this place, the teaching is look straight into the person's eyes and talk to them. Look straight and explain yourself. It is not an insult. And for any of you to think so, because you're all so young by comparison to myself, if you still think that looking down is the right thing, then I'm like, wow, nothing has changed back home at all. But it's a teaching, it's a culture. You know, these are the cultural changes, and you're sending them to school to learn. And then the learning is one where they ask questions. They're inquisitorial in their approach. Unlike us, where we are doing rote learning. You don't quiz your teacher. You give him back exactly what he gave you, end of story. And that is why we're limited when it comes to imagination. We're limited in terms of trying to progress our country because we have no ideas. Yeah? So, see the advantages, see the plus in that. So, what is abuse? Forms of maltreatment by inflicting harm or failing to act to prevent harm. Children may be abused by those who know them in a family setting or in an institution or community setting, or more rarely by a stranger. Do you agree with the whole thing? I don't. That may have applied when it was written, but in actual fact, that last line does not apply, and I'd like somebody to quickly tell me why. Why is it, why am I saying that in the last bit, that you cannot you can be abused, but in a family setting or in an institution or community, more rarely by a stranger? So it means that a stranger cannot abuse your child. Is that true? No. Tell me why.
You don't expect that. I know you. I'm not expected to abuse you. So the chances that a stranger will abuse you are higher than someone who's familiar with you. That's. No. Okay.
That's not where I'm coming from, but I'm going to take it because of time. What do you give your children that gives them access to the world? Thank you. What else? Thank you. So who do they meet there? Strangers. People that they don't know. Children have left Canada to come to London to be abused because of grooming on the phones. So all I'm saying to you is be cautious how you groom. And so how you give your children the gadgets. Monitor. You're entitled to monitor. Yes? Put your safeguards. If you don't know about it, I'm sure there's somebody in this place who deals with computers and such like. Even in the shop when you're buying it, you can ask them, please help me to put guards for my children. Show me how it is done. Because most of the time we, as parents, we're not au fait with these things like these children. Do you understand? So get the information so that you can deal with the situation. I'm going to run on quickly to say, okay, what is child abuse? What falls into it? And I want you all to remember one word, P-E-N-S, PENS. Standing for physical abuse, and I think you all know what physical abuse is. Then we have emotional abuse. This is where you are undermining your child with your words, your treatment, your lack of love, your lack of time with them. Neglect, which comes from not giving them food that is adequate for them, not giving them clothing that is adequate for them, not providing nappies, things like that. The basic needs, when you look at the Maslow's theory, right at the bottom, all those needs. And then sexual abuse. I won't go into detail with that. You all know what that incorporates. But know that it is rife. Please know that it is rife. That last one that we've mentioned here. I won't go into detail into what they each mean, but you know them. So what is the compound effect of child abuse? The life chances of your children are impacted. Poor outcomes, traumatized by what happens to them. And I can guarantee that in this room, at least 1 in 4 of you have been abused in some way, and of the last one that I mentioned. Because there's no reporting where we come from. And because of the shame that is linked with it, we live with it. And it impacts, no doubt, your lives today. And it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, you have been impacted by it. It can lead to family breakdowns and separations, and this happens where your children are taken away for various things. You are your first aid for your child, and I'm not talking putting a plaster. I'm talking about being there, knowing what's happening, keeping abreast of everything. You're the first person that is actually there, as in any, fire situation. The cycle of abuse can continue because they're already copying you, and this is what they will do. So if you're living in a domestic abuse situation, it's not quite like being in Nigeria where you say, I can't get out of here. Where will I go? Who's going to help me? There is help. Because at the extreme end, you're dead. That's the result. Many women, many men are dying because of it. And at the other end, maybe you have a disability. Which one do you want? You can choose. In the middle, the child who you're trying to protect is still alive, perhaps. And then so where are you to help them? If you have broken limbs, how do you help your child? If you're not alive, how do you help your child? Please think. Don't let church or beliefs save yourself first. I'm not saying divorce. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying save yourself first in order that you can deal with the situation. So what is child protection, which is what we do when we remove a child, not myself, but the community, social workers and so on. It's a process of protecting individual children identified as either suffering or likely to suffer significant harm. We mentioned that in the last law that I mentioned, as a result of abuse and neglect. Basically, there was a case called Victoria Climbié. Please look it up. Experts decided that child protection processes were not adequate to ensure children's safety and well-being. And in that case, does anyone know this case at all? Okay. In that case, a child was badly abused by the people that she was staying with. She was staying with her aunt and the aunt's boyfriend. And they basically beat her to death because they thought that she had witchcraft in her. And they were from Congo, and they have a very deep sense of this thing. So this is what happened. I'm just running through because of time. In this country, we have key legal frameworks on safeguarding of children. There was firstly the Act, Children and Young Persons Act 1933. It's important that I mention these laws to you, just so that you have that in you. Which basically the whole idea of that law was to protect the very basic physical needs of the children. Children's emotional and developmental needs were not touched in that particular law, because I think we were still coming from that time where children were heard and not seen, or seen and not heard rather. And that is, we're still adopting that in Nigeria to a certain extent. Then after that came the 1989 Act, which the notion of significant harm came into it, to decide what point to intervene to safeguard a child believed to be at risk of abuse. So the laws here enabled the local authority to come into your home and take a child away. Or if the children are at school, they can take them from there, depending on what has been reported as the various abuses. And then you had the UK Children's Act of 2004, and this safeguarding as a series of actions for prevention to early intervention and protection. So let's just have a quick look at what significant harm means. Please note this, it's very important. May I have your attention, please? Any form of abuse, neglect, accident or injury that is significantly serious to adversely affect the progress and enjoyment of life. Do you see how your children's voices are important here? That they care so much. Harm is defined as the ill treatment or impairment of physical, psychological, or intellectual health and development. So you have to be very, very careful how you treat their children. There's an equality here. Your children are important. You're living in an environment where children are important. They have a voice. They exist. They are the future generation. And it is not that this doesn't happen in your own country. It is just that it's not implemented. You have the laws, they're just not implemented because adults think that they're better and men stand out even more. So the voice of the woman, the voice of the child are all there. The 2004 Act strengthened the notion of child protection to encompass a much broader and wider concept of safeguarding the well-being of that child overall. So it was important, or it is important. I'm going to bring some things up before I call Kayode to come and just quickly run through one or two subject matters that are involved in safeguarding. I wanted to highlight to you, based on what you were saying earlier on, that there are I want to ask you all something. When you buy a telephone, how many of you just open the packet and plug it in and start using? How many of you do that with a fridge? You don't read the packaging, do you? You don't find out about it. That is why this is very important here, what you're doing. You're finding out. Always find out. Always read, because you may have missed something. It's just like having children. Nobody ever goes and starts saying, manual on bringing up a child. Let's read this quickly. Let's know about it. So those laws that I have mentioned, go back and read them again for yourself. And if there's anything you don't understand, give me a call and we will go through them. Another thing I want to mention is that it was said earlier on that women have no voice in the countries that you're coming from, but they do here. I will say to you that everybody has a voice here, both men, both women. It's not specifically a country just for women. We tend to think it's so because the men don't like to do what we're supposed to do. Am I right? They want to have that free life where they can abuse and go and it doesn't matter. It does matter. It's not a place just for men. It's not a place just for women. It is just that they will protect the women because the men are so forceful. But if you're in church and you're teaching about love, then you should apply those rules to the way that you live. It is not a woman's world. It is a human's world. Okay? It is not a woman's world here. It is a human's world here. At least that is what I want to believe. And that is what it basically is. So it is important that you know how you treat each other. For the men, note it. Nothing will be done to you if you're treating your woman right. The only time is failure to do what is right that puts you into trouble. It is not because the environment is hostile to you. Otherwise, what you're saying is that the environment that says, do not beat this woman, do not abuse this woman, do not slap this child or tell this child he's an idiot and destroy his psyche and confidence, is the environment you want to live? It doesn't make sense. It's a human's world. It's an everybody's world right here. And the difference is that from your home is that it is implemented. If I report, somebody will help me. Unlike there, where you report, they will laugh first. Even your mother in those days will send you back to your husband and say, are you the first to be beaten? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is a fair position here. Earlier on, you actually mentioned about the laws. I think the lady there mentioned about the laws. What I just want to pick up on that is to say that coming from where you're coming from, there are ways things were done. Here, you have to do what all offices are asked to do. And I'm just being comical in saying, and that is you have to make reasonable adjustment. Yeah? If, for example, let me give you an example. I am in a wheelchair. I have a right to apply for a job, and if I'm the best person for that job, you take me. When you take me into your office, you must make reasonable adjustment in your office to enable my wheelchair to come through that door, which is slightly wider than usual, and be able to wheel into a floor that is correct for me. Reasonable adjustment. So when you come into this country, you have to make reasonable adjustment in your spirit, in your mind, in your behavior to adjust to this country. This is in a sense when we say do as the Romans do. It's to understand how they live so that you can fit in. It doesn't mean that you cannot, in truth, you can smack your child in this country. You cannot in, I think, Scotland and Ireland now, or Wales. And smacking is not beating to you, knock the person out and cause an injury. Taking into consideration that your child may have all other ailments that could be impacted by that beating. When the young lady was talking, she mentioned something about words. They are very important. Let me do an experiment here. In this country, we love rain, and it rains and rains. But there are many, many words. Yes. And there are many, many words that describe rain. As somebody that lives here, give us another word for rain that describes rain in this country. What else? Showers. What else? Downpour. Thank you. What else? Drizzling. Thank you. Is drizzling the same as shower? Is drizzling the same as downpour? What's the difference?
Intensity.
The degree. Thank you. So when you now say, I'm going to beat you, that's what your child hears. And he knows that that means he's getting a real... When he goes to school and he says, my mommy beats me. They're like, oh, because to beat, that's heavy. They didn't come and say, oh, my mommy smacked me. If your mommy smacks you, usually the visual is that you lift it and you'll do this. And it won't be hard. It will not leave a mark. You will not need to use Dr. Do-Good, which was what was used for me. Yeah? I haven't told you the story of Dr. Do-Good. But that is what they visualize. Beating is, I put up my fist, I'm going to knock you out. That's beats now. No, it is so, but do you know the psyche of your child, what he sees? What he has seen from home as well, perhaps, or heard from his friends? What about the African yoga that we like to do? You know, we were the ones that created African yoga. You know what African yoga is? Does anyone know? Standing in one of these positions. Take your position, take your position, take your position. Abby? That's my African yoga. We were first. We showed them. Yeah? And when they hear this, when they see this, when they learn this from your society or your culture, it doesn't bode well. So that is what they visual. So you can understand why they might say, we need to remove this child from this home. Because if he's been intimidated and basically receiving what is known as, could be corporal punishment in his home, it's not the environment to live in. They used to beat in schools here. They used to use a cane. But they've come a long way from that time. Yeah? So it's not that it wasn't practiced here. It's just that they don't do it anymore. Okay, picking up on some more points. I also pointed out that when you are not sure of a piece of information, find out. There are organizations that you can go to get that information. But what I would always say is ask your friends for experience. So ask the law for the facts. Ask your friends for, when you did this, how did it go? And then I would ask all of you, because you know one of our culture is that we don't always tell the truth about everything. If we go through something, we don't tell the whole story because we always want to look good. The other thing is we don't want to admit that we're going through that situation, but share. Yeah? Don't allow somebody else to fall into a trap that you may inadvertently have fallen into. So save them. Because you don't know where it will rebound and you may need that person's help as well. Yeah? So use your friends for experience. Some of them may know the facts, but check it. Because there's a presumption in this country that once you sign the dotted line on things, you've read the blueprint. You've read what we call, in jokingly, the small print. Read it. Because if you've signed at the bottom without reading it, and then there's something in there, it's like, for example, if you're buying insurance, if you're buying something for your child to eat, your child may have some sort of allergy. Read it, for goodness sake. You're buying sweet that everybody else eats. Read. What's in this one now? What does this do? You know, recently, just for a joke, I was listening to something on TikTok, and they were saying that I don't know if it was a joke, but let's just imagine that it's real for a moment, that they had now authorized us to be, some manufacturers to put insects in our food. You know, because they're actually saying that insects are good protein, yeah? So they'll crush it and put it into the food. If you don't read, will you know that it's there and you're eating away? So read everything, because things are changing right before our eyes. Yeah? Just as a warning. So now I'm going to go through the various topics very, very quickly. My champion, come forward and just very quickly run through. Let's do internet, because we touch various subjects. So very quickly. It's all there for you. Let's do it like that.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. All right, earlier on, while she was talking, she spoke about strangers who are strangers. And I think I would like to come back to that discussion to start with. We mentioned the fact that the world has gone global and people meet, you can meet people anywhere. And when I mean anywhere, where do I mean? On the internet, physically. I've seen people do business transaction and they've never met physically. By email, by WhatsApp, you know. Some of us, as a matter of fact, we order things online and they deliver. So the world has gone global with the internet, and therefore social interaction has gone into the internet, and it's having a lot of massive impact on how we live our lives. And if that is the case, therefore it has a lot of things to do and a role to play in how our children are kept safe in this world. So I'll be talking very briefly about internet safety and how to keep our children safe. How many of us have children that have tabs or phones right now? 1, 2, 3. And for those of us that the kids do not have tabs, do they have access to our phones once in a while? Yes or no? All right. They know our passwords. And of course, when most of them are online, either our phone or their tabs or gadgets, what do they do with them? They do YouTube, the cartoon, social media, correct, TikTok sometimes, depending on the age, and then they play games online. How many of us are aware that there are lots of games online that allows players to interact? Roblox, do we know Roblox? Yeah, and there used to be someone that are actually, in the past, allows people to create challenges. I'm sure quite an amount of us will have heard about different social media challenges. Yes, so today they say ice bucket, ice challenge. Who has our experience? You watched it. So what was it? Can you explain what the challenge was about briefly?
They kind of pour ice into a bucket, and then someone comes and they pour the whole of the ice on him. I think that's basically.
Someone sits down on a chair like this, and a group of people take a bucket full of ice blocks, and the challenge is his ability to withstand the pressure coming from that cold, and they pour the ice blocks on the person. Not considering the health status of the person going through that challenge, the weather condition of that environment, and a lot of other things involved. There have been instances where people have died from that.
In fact, there was another trend that was trending, and this is where it's so important that as parents you know what's happening online.
Exactly.
Because there was that where three people were standing a row. The person in the middle is actually the dummy because he doesn't know what's going to happen, and they will jump.
Yep.
And these two will jump. Then this one will now jump, and they will kick his legs from underneath him. Now, can you imagine if your child is, playing with them and doing this as a joke? If someone kicked my feet from underneath me, what am I going to do? I'm going to fall backwards. I could hit my head. In fact, a lot of them I've seen, they just hit their head just bounces on the floor.
No safety.
So you need to know. I mean, in fact, sorry, can you remind me? It was this child, is it Arthur, who died recently because he was doing the other challenge where they tied rope around their neck till they nearly lose their breath. Then they may release it.
Release it back.
But I think he went beyond, and yet he was telling his parents, his mother, that I can hold my breath.
Yep.
Yeah. And what happened was she didn't really take much notice. But one day, in fact, what is the loudest noise you can hear when your children are around?
Silence.
Thank you.
That is it.
It was the silence of her child that made her say, "Oh, what's wrong with him? I'm not hearing him." She ran upstairs to find him on the floor because he had performed that challenge. Yes? And from there, he never recovered and passed away. So it's important to know what your children are involved in, or what they're seeing, shall I say, because they will try it. They don't understand the impact.
And what brings children to that point most times? When children are not getting the kind of interaction and the kind of attention that they need from the people that are physically present for them, they seek it elsewhere. In this life, there is really no vacuum anywhere. Anywhere you create a vacuum in the social standing, somewhere something else will have to fill it. If we are not available for our children, someone else will be available. And that person necessarily does not have to be in our school, on our streets, in the estates, in the church. It can be somebody else online. There is an instance of a child that died or committed suicide. I'm sorry to say this, but what happened was he joined a social media network, and at some point she was bullied. People saying all sorts of things. You are not this, you are not that, you are not that. She lost self-esteem and ended up in that case. And there are quite a lot of other instances like that. Where I will stop, there is a particular game about 4 or 5 years ago where people play. They challenge each other, so you play the game as a normal game, and at every milestone, there is somebody who is at the principal end of that game pyramid who gives an instruction to whoever is on that game to go and do something very hot outside here. And I've seen a situation where the children of the players are asked to go, for instance, on an expressway and stand in the middle, and they die. They've been brainwashed, they've been reformatted into, in quotes, zombies, and they end up doing things exactly. And especially when a child is attention, I was looking for, okay, to prove that I can do things, just like the case Ms. Ekanem just mentioned. We end up with this. You see the dangers and the importance of us being available for children, and also supervising the usage of the internet. The internet has come with a lot of blessings. There are children who have become software developers today, making a lot of money. I have children online on YouTube reviewing toys and making millions of dollars from it. But at the other end of it as well, people are losing the children or losing themselves to the risk of the internet. How do we create a balance in this case? What do we think? So how do we create a balance? We have some solutions, we have some suggestions from Africa, but before I jump into that, I would like to just ask us, if you want to create a world where your kids are safe from the issues and the risk of the internet, what do you think we can do? Go.
The first thing for me would be to, beyond or before getting to the point where you censor things on their devices, engage them. That's something that has worked for me, and it's still working for me. Most of the times, if from Africa, we tend to hide under the sand like the ostrich and pretend like the things are not happening. There was a case of the instance of a school, I don't want to mention the name, things that happened in the school where some children who went on excursion got themselves involved in some misconduct. And these were children that are around the age of 10, 11, 12, 13. I have a daughter who's just 10. And I said, these things are being discussed on the internet. Some children have access to the internet. I sat with her. I had to make her listen in the most appropriate language as possible. That this is what's happening. If you hear about it, this is what is expected, and this is why you shouldn't do. So I think that engaging the children, it was something that we're not used to growing up. Parents hardly sat with us. Parents hardly sat with us to tell us certain things. It was a case of, if a boy talks to you or touches you, you get pregnant. Not going into details about setting. Yes, exactly. So I think that engaging is the first step.
Thank you very much. I'll take one more point.
Thank you very much. Exposing children to sensitive issues before they happen. And I'll take our story as an example. You know, in Nigeria, we don't tell our children. I've never told my child about sex before. I've never really sat her down and tell about, you know. So they just tell me, where does baby come from? I tell them they come from heaven. When they see me and their dad, we're praying, we're fellowshipping, you know. So there was now this day, we were already in the UK. My mom-in-law called me and said, you need to pay attention to the things these children watch. You know, because she couldn't even say it. So I was wondering, for mama to say this. So I started engaging the children. And I had to whine and whine. Don't worry, I'll not beat you. We'll just discuss it. And my boy sprung up with excitement. Mom, I now know where babies come from. It hit me.
Please, you want to give it up to her very well. Give it up to her. The Nigerian way. She says she's a Nigerian, but she's been here for a while. So let's make her feel Nigeria small, please. Oh yeah. Eshalatewo. Do you understand that? Eshalatewo. I'm saying they should clap for you. Thank you very much. Yeah, please, you can have your seat. Yeah. Now, I just want to ask, and I want the parents' echo before I get the children's echo. Were you impacted? Please, let my children teach you the way I want it. I want you to know if you're really. Children, were you impacted? It's enough now. You know my son is there. Don't make too much. So parents, please just tell me, were you impacted? Did you enjoy this? Please, a round of applause for our facilitator and our own administrator, another super facilitator. You should have told us. Now we don't sell Ekanem should not come. Only you should.
She's very
no, we want you. We want you. And she has promised us, because like I said, we are not a church. That's where we bonded the first time I met her through the administrator. He said he would like this person to come. Yes. It's not a church operates theocracy. Yes. But if you are wise as a pastor, you know that your theo must use the T, the H, and every other person. So he suggested this, and immediately we, the leaders, approved it. And I'm sure that we are not regretting that we did. And when we spoke, the first thing that connected us, that as much as this church is Christ Apostolic Church, is the church known for praying most. But a lot of us are praying, but we are still praise. Did you hear what I just said? We are praying, but we are still praying. We are praying to so many things. Please, something has happened to this sound. Isaiah, who is there? Something has happened to my sound, oh, please. Isaiah, please now. Is Isaiah there? So, it's our work. We know when sound is good. Isaiah, thank you so much. Isaiah, you are not there. So what happened to my sound? Yourself. Oh. Thank you. So, I said we don't want to be a church that is just praying, and when we need to discuss, we are not discussing. And we come up with this one that we are doing now. Now, there are other people in the house that I want to bring up stage, and we are now asking questions. So before we do that, let me see your hands up. You have questions to ask. Let me see your hands up. Yes, I have like 1, 2, and more questions will come. So we're doing this within 20-25 minutes. There is somebody here today who is a ginger for me. As long as this conference, this summit, she doesn't want me to say that, but I already say it. I had to go and spend like 2 hours with her on a working day to say, how do we go about this? And she gave me please, when I mention her name, celebrate her for me. And that is Sylvia Ochuba from Stronger Community Middle. Please, a round of applause for her. Very special lady. Very special lady. Yes, please clap for her, clap for her, clap for her. She's coming to this place from the back. Yes, thank you. She was here last year, she's here again. Please fire her question. Fire her question. There was a time, I've not shown you this video, Minister Nkechi, and I know we've discussed. There was a time your children were with us in the house. You remember? And these white children just came and they were playing outside. You remember? And they were coming to harass our children. Seriously. I have the video. I have to record it. I showed that video to her, and you see the amazing work they did without making noise. What I saw next was that those children don't come to our area again. What I saw next, that in school they began to teach racism that week through their own influence. They just had to go to the schools, talk to the teachers, and they had to teach all the children racism, not to do racism again. And that issue went down drastically. Thank you very much, Sylvia. Can't thank you enough. I also have joining her all the way from London is Ms. Ekanem Robertson. Hey, thank you. You're just coming. Oh, welcome, welcome. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you. Also joining us on this set is Colbert Peacock. Wow, please a round of applause for her. A round of applause for her. Yes. So let's take, and joining us finally is the number 1 student in Teesside University, President, Welfare, second term, Oshekini Kulule. Oshekeji. Please welcome President Femi. A round of applause for Femi Abolade. And yeah, I'm adding one more person. I didn't tell her, but I'm adding her. She's an expert in children matter in this country. She's one of us. Very wonderful lady. Her name is Mrs. RJ. Please bring her up for me. I met her at the market. She's done a lot of training on children safeguarding and others. Now we are asking questions in the next 20-25 minutes, and you ask whatever you want to ask around economy, around the UK, around why can we vote, you cannot vote, whatever you want to ask. And coordinating that session is no other person than my beautiful, hello, where is this guy? We can see you watching from Nigeria. Good. We have some people watching online as well. So coordinating this session is the chairperson of this summit, Mrs. Comfort Oluwole Dada. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my pastor. Please put your hands together for this wonderful panel of judges. Oh, judges? Did I say judges? All right. They are actually going to do justice to all what we want to do this afternoon. In a couple of minutes, we'll be out of here. Trust me, we will be out of here. So where do I start from? Okay, we've heard from, we've heard from you, and we really need to hear from, wow, this place is balanced. It's really balanced. All right, we have a question, and I would like you to choose who answers your question. And if the person doesn't do it to your satisfaction, he or she passes it to the next person. Let's go. Your name first.
I don't think I want to choose who will answer. We already know who will answer the question. Right, my name is Essie Onuru. My question was with regards to at what age are you expected, because children run errands for us, can you send a child to go out to the shop just across the street or by the street somewhere to get easy things like possible bread, milk, eggs, for example? I understand that you can't leave children at home alone, but what age are you expected to ask them to go on an errand? I ask this because, of course, I had been reading up and learning a lot of all these things before coming, especially as an immigrant. Sometimes I realize that the things that apply to the locals may be applied differently when it has to do with us. And I see a lot of their children go out, you are in the shop, they play on the street, they play around, they're even in the shop with you getting one or two things. So do we also have that liberty to ask our children to go get something for us without being penalized?
There are several things involved here, because it would actually depend on the maturity of your child. I mean, if you think about it, you're already sending your child probably by now, by about the age of 11, to go to school by themselves. Am I right? Yeah? So if they need to go to a corner shop, I wouldn't see that there's an issue. I don't know the exact age, but I think it would be based on maturity. And knowing that you have already instructed your child, taught your child how to go into the street and come back safely. You need to know what your area is like, because those are the safeguarding issues. Because you may say, okay, I want to send them to go and buy soap or sugar or something. But if your area is not safe, or the time of day you're intending to do this is not safe, I wouldn't do it. Do you understand? So it's all those mitigating factors that will come into play. We know that when a child goes to school, he goes between 8 and by 4:30 he's back. So it would be daylight hours. He knows where the shop is. He's got the sufficient money, and the area is safe, that somebody's not going to stop him and take the money and beat him or something like that. And he knows to return home safely. Plus he has a phone with him, so that if there's any issues, he can get help.
Very much. So how do we differentiate between respect and what do I call it now? Honor regards our cultures. For instance, a girl child in Nigeria or in Africa goes down on her knees. Not all, because there are some ethnic groups in Nigeria too that do not kneel down. Yet I want to teach my son, I want to teach my daughter to be able to kneel down, to be able to curtsy. So at what point do we differentiate between abuse and respect teaching?
Well, I see nothing wrong in teaching your children about how to greet and all those kind of things. Are they still not bowing at the moment to the king and queen? Why do they do that? Culture, respect. So nobody should be telling me that I cannot teach my child to do the same thing, because that's my culture, my respect. There's no harm being caused to the child to know how to greet, because when he goes from this environment to another environment, he will know what to do and he won't be out of place, because this is not the only environment that he will live in. And you need to know the customs where you are going. Yeah? Because he may even be in danger by not doing it properly.
Question? All right.
I will try to be brief, but I have lots of questions. I will try. Yeah, my first question is going to be from the experience I have had with friends, and I will direct it to Ms. Ekanem and Sylvia, because I know that you are in the council or workspace, care space. Is there anything like overzealousness with care workers when they are handling cases of children, foster children, or children who are not citizens, as it were? You know, because I've had cases that made me cry, because it was more of like they were ticking the box, you know, and I couldn't find my answers. So just to be on the safe side and on a general level, because I need to know, I've not had my answers to them. Could it be possible that there could be racism embedded in institution against a particular tribe or ethnic group? I just want to know. Please just try to explain to me as touching children and all that. My second question, I don't want to come back, and that is on women voice. Where we were back home, women have a voice, but because of the cultural setting, they're meant to be silent on many things, you know. So women don't say a lot, and when they care to say it, they've been looked down on. For example, if a woman say I'm walking out of marriage, and then she says this is the reason, say this one cannot even be patient. But this place is different. The law will support a woman, and by privilege, I've been able to listen to a lot of women, and I see that there are women who have been hurt in Nigeria. They are bitter. Opportunity has brought them here, so they want to now express their bitterness, and it's going to affect the children in the same vein. So how can you help this dysfunction? Because honestly, I think it's a time bomb for the growing African families here. It's a time bomb. The relationship between husband and wife that has been swept over the carpet in Nigeria, bringing here, and then it becomes a big deal. You know, in Nigeria, a woman is supposed to keep quiet, but here she now has somebody to help her. How can we manage it and still have good families without people breaking up, people forgiving themselves and moving on without children being taken? The third question, I can see my uncle already standing up. I would like to ask my president, accommodation, student, is it possible that the school can help within the confines of what they can do to realize that students have issues with accommodation, and they have issues with loans, and we shouldn't blind our eye to, oh, I expect every international student to come to the place, have all the money. An international student will wish to study abroad and yet not still have all the money to be fine. So please, is there a way, are there things that are in pipeline? Because I know as at the time I was a student, I'm gradually graduating. I knew that there were a lot of things that was not in place for the international student, and it looked like we're all by ourselves. So are there things that that can happen? Lastly, children's health. Okay, I don't want to come back. Children's health. I heard that if you don't register a child for dentist or for that, the child could be taken from you as a then if any mark is on a child, it could be taken as being beat. You have to answer questions, please. You help us. What about us that have mark and it's not because of beating? How do we escape that? Thank you.
Where do we start from? All right.
I'll speak first. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll introduce myself again. My name is Ngozi Sylvia Ochoba, and I am the Community Development and Cohesion Worker for Middlesbrough Council. So I'm part of the Stronger Communities team. Can you hear me? No. Louder. Okay. I'm not used to holding a microphone, so... I'll answer the last question first. Children's health. So it's your responsibility as a parent that when you come into the UK, you register your children with the GP and the dentist. I know within Middlesbrough, based off of the numbers that we have, some GPs have said they're not taking patients anymore. Some dentists will say they're not taking patients anymore. Please try and speak to other people or speak to us within the council. And that's why the SCM team is there, the Stronger Communities team. Our job is to signpost. Our job is to show you, okay, if this GP is not taking on people, how can we help? We can get in touch with people in public health and see if there are other GPs. The problem is the GP that we might send you to might be maybe out of your way, maybe not like the next street from you, but it might just be maybe in Aklam or Berwick Hills. But there's a possibility that when there is now space in the GP surgery closer to you, then you can then register yourself or your children. But your children, you and your children, not just your children, you and your children need to be registered with a GP and a dentist. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Part of the reason that, sorry, my name's Cull. I'm a resident of Middlesbrough. I've lived here all my life. I'm also a youth worker by trade. I'm actually a children's home manager, so don't think I'm here to take your children. I'm not. I promise you. I'm also somebody who works with Middlesbrough Football Club. I work with Cleveland Police as well. So there's a lot of things that I know, and probably a lot of things I don't know. But in terms of what you talked about, in terms of them coming to take your children off you if you're not registered with a doctor or things like that, it's not so much that they're going to take your children off you. It's one of the criteria that when social services are looking at how well your child is looked after, they will look at, is this child registered with a doctor? Is this child registered with a dentist? If both of those things are no, then it goes into the criteria that they're looking at. That's the reason that you think that's going to happen. It's not necessarily that it will happen. They want you to try and register. If you can actually show that you have tried and it hasn't worked, then they know that you're trying. They know that you're trying your hardest. So don't think that it's, well, I haven't been able to get a doctor, I haven't been able to get a dentist, they're going to take my child off me. That's not the case, okay? Try your hardest, and like they said, go to the council. If you're not able to, because there's waiting lists on doctors and dentists and things, and they close their list and things. So always try and go to the council to get as much support as you can. Even get them to put it in writing. This person has tried to get this and we're working with them. So just do that, okay? Sorry.
It's okay. Can I also add, if you can get hold of someone within the council, the children's school, go to the school office. They have a school nurse. Let them know that you're unable to register the children with a dentist or with a GP surgery. That way, the school knows that, oh, there has been, there's been a trial, effort to help to register the children with a GP, even you as the parent, because I think one of the things that has happened is there's been this creation of fear, taking your children. And like you made mention of marks, until there's an allegation, and then there is now and then investigation around, okay, how did the marks come about? I think those are the things that social services, children's services then look into. That's not my forte. My forte is more community development. But I do know little things about it. But in terms of GP surgeries, dentists, school, please speak to the school as well, the school office. Speak to the school office because the school has an assigned nurse usually. So when they know, then they can also put into writing, or maybe they can even make those contacts for you on your behalf. The thing is, always ask. Always ask questions, and please don't, I don't want to say live in ignorance, but don't be quiet, don't be silenced. There was another question around women, yeah. So, within our team, we work with emerging communities, and majority of the times we see communities where the women necessarily are almost second-class citizens. And what we do within our team as the Stronger Communities team is we tend to empower the women that we work with. So, like Ekanem said here, it's not a man's world, it's a human's world for everybody. So, as part of the SCM team, one of the things that we do is we facilitate speaking to women, encouraging women, empowering women, and there are community organizations just like the one that Pastor Femi is running here, giving opportunity to people to ask questions. And I think some of the times the things that happen is there is no place for you to go as a woman. I'll put it in terms of like the way you've asked the question, as a woman, to say, oh, how can I get this help? There is almost that affinity to feel like you're shaming your family by going out to ask for help. Yeah, you're exposing your family. But many a times, I think what we need to do is we need to use our voices more, and we need to be able to ask. It's one thing to use your voice, it's another thing to ask for help. It's okay for you to ask for help, and asking the right people for help as well. That's another key factor. Asking the right people for help. I always say that the council is there to help, but a lot of people don't come out to us. So one thing I'm going to encourage everyone to do today is please utilize the services that you have.
It's just because of the fear of the unknown.
Yes, and I think
because when you go to the council to ask questions, anything can happen. They can start to document some things that you never expected that they would document, and you put yourself into trouble by going into, that's what we believe.
Yeah.
You put yourself into trouble by telling them the truth.
Well, and this is why Pastor Femi was very keen on me coming today. Hopefully, Isaiah would be able to put up my contact details and my email address. One thing, so my job role, like I said, is community development and cohesion. The aim is to help our emerging communities and our settled communities come together so we can live peacefully within Middlesbrough as a whole. So what we're looking at is we're not looking at scaring anybody or taking anybody's child away. When you when you contact me and you ask me a question, the first thing that comes to my head is not, oh, he or she is an abuser. The first thing that comes to my is how can I be of help to you? How can I mitigate some of the issues that you're having or some of the issues that you're facing? I'm not there to point fingers or obviously if I see something that is concerning, the first thing that we're not going to do is, oh, take your child away from you. No, it's ask questions. How can we help? How can we better the situation? So I would hope that after today, one of the things that we can get out of this is being able to get in touch with people within the council, which is the Stronger Communities team. You know, we're always keen to help. We're always wanting to help. But the question is, do people know how to get in touch with us and contact us?
Thank you so much, Sylvia. A round of applause for her. I want to ask again, are we learning? I can't hear the house. Are we learning? What I discovered so much, yeah, that's my God. What I discovered so much is that there's a lot of they said. Please, I want all of us to be together as we are closing this meeting. They said, I heard, I am looking for the day and the who said it that we have not seen up to today. And that is why from the church, we brought up an organization and we decided to face these things head on. Let's go into it and look at what is possible and what is not possible. And I'm beginning to find out that there are a lot of good things in what they say is bad. And let's be at the forefront and let's keep taking this lead and let's see if there is going to be something bad in it. So I am telling us, everybody here, take advantage of everything we can take advantage of. Being a Commonwealth citizen gives us a lot of privilege. I know the president would like to talk about that. Gives us a lot of privilege and privileges that we can embrace. But in the name of what they've stared on our face, we are running back. And we are not enjoying what we need to enjoy. And I want to challenge us that please, let's put the foot out there. I would enjoy a lot of things we can enjoy. I will see when President reacts. Yeah. I want to ask Kaude again about can I vote? Can I vote? Can I be voted for? Then enlighten us. Election is coming. Some of us are registering already. Can you enlighten us about the two strongest political parties that are here and little about their values so that people know how, not you campaigning, because we don't know if you are Labour or you are not Labour. Then
because I took up the university on the issue of accommodation, and the first question the chief operational officer of the university asked me is that, Femi, if you were to be and that I've seen that, I've been shown and I've seen it. Students lie because probably they are afraid they won't be given visas or they won't be given admission in the first place. Because last year, when this issue was really raging, we took the school up on the issue of accommodation. And for those who were coming in January, they put out a survey and they were asking them, are you coming with your family? We're expecting, from West Africa alone, we're expecting close to 1,000 students.
West Africa alone, 1,000 students.
And only 60 persons responded that they were coming with families. Only 60. And you can imagine how, because for every organization, they work with data. And they will always tell you that we can only work with data. The school, yes, the school was, like I said, I'm speaking like somebody who is
inside and outside.
Inside and then somebody from outside. The school will always say that, yes, when you are coming, although you have put up every money you want to, but they want to know so that if there's any way, even though they won't be providing accommodation. Now, they won't be providing accommodation for families. It's not the duty of the school to provide accommodation for families. It is their responsibility to provide accommodation for students, which we are taking them up. One of the major issues that the school had last year was the closing down of the central halls, which was about 400 bed space. It means that about 400 persons that were supposed to be there had to join other accommodation that we had outside. And that happened, they had to close that because they call it the Grenfell law, something like that. That's about safety. After the Grenfell Towers fire, there was a rule that the UK government gave out that if you are bringing out a multipurpose, is that the right word now? Multipurpose accommodation, which like the big accommodation for students, any accommodation like that, they have a standard. So they gave them a number of time. If you didn't do it, you had to close down such places. It led to a lot of hostels, halls being closed down, not only in Teesside, in several schools across the UK. And that was why we had that hall shut.
So, Mr. President,
Now,
because of our time, I just wanted to tell that question. Is the school planning to do anything? I'm going to have another Zoom session with you, with the people.
Okay.
Later. But is the school doing anything in terms of, even their students, they don't have enough hostel?
Yeah, like I said, 400 bed spaces were closed. So, of course, we didn't have enough. We were on the tail of the school to get a place for January. Unfortunately, it didn't come true. For those who know the Durham University in Stockton, we were on the school's neck that we should get that. That's about 300 bed space for students. Because one of the things we said was that if that was there, those who are sharing the shared accommodation
can use that.
Will be opened. They will have more accommodation for those with families. And that is exactly what we are doing right now. And well, a lot is ongoing. I cannot speak for the school now because I can't tell you that the school will provide. No, and then you quote me and say that.
It's something going on.
Yeah, there are things going on that we're working so that there can be places for student accommodation, which open spaces for people with families. Now, in addition, I know I've said this on this platform before. For those who may be listening to me, those who are here or those who want
online
to come, that please, if you are coming, and this also goes across, please, number one, don't look at Middlesbrough. Sylvia said something the other time that GPs and some places like that are filled up, they are not taking people. And that's not only for GPs. The same is happening to schools. And I've said it, please, don't let us be so obsessed with staying in Middlesbrough. Let us look into other places around us. Darlington, we may think is far, but because of some of these things, you have more peace of mind if you go there to live with your family. I know families who live in Bishop Auckland. Yes, I know Bishop Auckland is like an hour and a half by bus. But won't you rather prefer a place where your children will have no issue with schools, or you have no issue booking an appointment with GP, rather than a place where everybody is concentrated, which is
it's not saturated.
And now it's saturated, and there are issues which I won't be talking about here. I wouldn't want Silver to
arrest you,
to arrest me if I live here. But the fact is that TS1
is filled up.
So why don't we begin to look outside of these areas? Look outside, look outwards, look into places where there are bus routes, there are train routes that you can go by, just one train or one bus, and then you go there and then you have the facilities to yourselves.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President. And I want to put my voice to that. I know of about 2 houses, 2 families now that have gone to pray for their house in Billingham. Yes, and I'm saying it again. It's if that is a place you see, go and have peace. We will come. We stay in Emlington. We are here. When we finish now, we will go in 15 minutes.
Even though Emlington is one of the places that we are recommending people not to stay because.
Thank you. But we're having fun there. Quick, let me go to Quebec. Please, can I vote?
Yes.
And
right, okay. So
can I be voted for? Then quickly, briefly, I'm going to have a Zoom session with you on this later.
Okay.
And I'm going to invite anybody onto that and show us some of the political parties that exist.
Okay. So
And so, but briefly
very
now.
quickly, I'm not an expert in voting. I've just grown, I'm born and bred here, so I know what I know. So I'm no expert. I do, so straight away on that. In terms of can you vote, absolutely, because you're from the Commonwealth country of Nigeria, so you are able to vote. I've just checked it as well. If you're an international student, you can register to vote. So that you have that, because you have remained to leave here, you have that right to vote. But you have to register. You also have to have a UK address, okay? So just remember that in that respect. All you have to enter, you can use your phone, and all you have to do is enter, register to vote. Go onto the .gov website and you'll be able to register. Make sure you've got your national insurance number, okay? We've just found that with somebody else in the room. They didn't have their national insurance number, and if you don't have that, then they're going to ask you for lots more documents.
Information.
Now, in terms of
Can I be voted for?
Can you be voted for? You have to register yourself as declaring that you want to become a councillor or an MP.
So at this status of being
party, or you can do it as an independent. Now, if you wanted to put forward that you wanted to be voted for and stand as a candidate, you should have done that months ago. So not right now.
Not now, but later in the future.
But later in the future, you can do that.
So quickly, tell us about the political parties that
Right,
there
political
are.
parties. So there's generally 2, let's say 3 actually, political parties in the UK. Conservatives, Labour, and Liberal Democrat.
Take it again.
Okay? So those are the 3 main parties that you have. I'm not going to tell you, because it's wrong of me to tell you which party to vote for. But what they do is they will put leaflets through your door. They'll all of a sudden start knocking on your door and telling you how great they are. They will all do that, okay? You have to decide who is going to be right for you, okay? Now, in this country, I can tell you, people of our skin colour, yeah? Labour Party has tended to be the best, okay? That is in the past. I am not talking about now. You are very intelligent people. You will talk to them, you will ask them questions. Ask them questions. Don't just go, oh yes, I'll vote for you.
Okay.
Ask them who is good for you. Ask them who's going to stand up for you and your rights and for your children's rights. And if you get the answers that you're looking for, vote for them.
Vote for that party.
Okay?
Good.
Don't listen to what I'm going to be voting Labour, right?
She's saying it publicly.
That doesn't mean that you have to vote Labour, right?
Binny, who are you going to vote for?
What I'm saying is, that doesn't mean that you have to, okay? You might decide that actually the Conservative candidate is actually better for you. Vote for them.
Thank you.
You might think Liberal is better. Vote for them. Or independent, absolutely.
Thank you.
I could, as I am a Labour member, but I could actually come out of the party and stand as an independent. I could stand in your area in the next general election, and you might go, do you know what, I like her, I'm going to vote. That's fine.
Yeah.
Can I just add?
So quickly, you had that to that. Our time is up actually. I want to announce to you that very soon there's going to be an event in this hall again, where that is coming from IPC. We're going to have an event here put together by Bini and Kabi and others. Yes, we're running up. And we're going to have other contestants for political parties. You listen to them here and know who to vote for as at that time. President Femi, please, I want her to say something quickly because we are done. So as we close, Ma, you've worked in Nigeria with children. You are working here with children. Tell me, just say one or two things that parents should explore now that they are here.
Well, I will just summarize it because there are a lot of things involved with children training. But what's the takeaway I want everyone to get is that we must be ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And then parenting now has gone away from, where we're coming from back in Africa. The way we train children, or rather the way we parent is, this is what my father and mother taught me, and this is the way it should be. No, it must be intentional parenting.
Intentional parenting.
If you can come here all the way to learn, if you can go to university, if you can go to college to get a degree, why can't you train? Why can't you get training? Why can't you learn how to train? How to do proper parenting. Parenting has gone beyond, this is what I know, this is what I feel. No, it's intentional parenting.
Let's hold it on that. It has to be intentional. Yeah, she's running up. It has to be intentional parenting. Most of us, when I teach, I say we have accidental parent, emergency parent, but I don't want to go into that today. But for here in the UK, there is opportunity to learn to be a parent and learn it. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Ajoy. Ekene, you have 5 minutes to close this program and we are done. Thank you all for coming. Hope you have learned something. So let's all listen to Ekene as we close this program today. 5 minutes.
Okay. Do I have your attention? Had you learnt anything today? Could I ask 3 people to give me just 1 point only, and each one must be different? A woman's worth. Human worth. Fantastic. We do not live in a country which is just for women. It is for the human. Okay. Say that one. Yes. Absolutely. I'm coming away from that light in my eye. It is absolutely right. Find out, ask questions. There is information in abundance in this place. And let me just say, the lady that spoke about voting, do not expect a bag of rice from any of your applicants. They will not give it to you. And if they should, report them. And something will be done. There is no bribing in this country of anything. If you are deserving of something, you will get it. If you qualify with all the right papers, you will get it. It's very simple. That's what makes this country an easier place to stay in. One more point, last point. Fantastic, I love that. So it's a case of learn, unlearn, and relearn. And that is exactly what I hope that you've done today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. And this is the end of Family Safety Summit. Ekanem has like few more minutes to use before she goes catch a train. If you want to have a one-on-one with her, see Minister Kayode and we can just thank you all. God bless you and bye-bye.